Welcome to part 2 of Laplace transform. So we left off in first property in part 1. So today we will see two more properties, shifting property or shifting theorem, and convolution property and convolution theorem. So let's begin. So shifting property. So this is the statement of shifting property. So actually in shifting property there are two sub properties. One we call first shifting theorem and another we call second shifting theorem. So you can see here if fx is a function whose Laplace transform is denoted by this f of s, right? Then it says if you take Laplace transform of this function f of x multiplied with this factor exponential to the power ax, then the result is this. So whatever the Laplace transform of fx, just s is shifted by a. So this is first shifting property. We have second shifting property. So in this case you see we have a function f x minus a. So this function is slightly shifted by a unit and it is multiplied by another function h. This h is called Heaviside function. And how we define Heaviside function? This is how we define. So this is the argument, right? This is the argument of Heaviside function, and whenever this argument is less than 0, this function will take value 0, and whenever it is greater than or equal to 0, this function will take value 1. So it has only two output, 0 and 1, right? So you can see when your x is greater than a, what happens? This argument is positive, so in that case it will return 1. So we also call it unit step function. You got why it is called unit step function? Because when you draw this graph you will see it's looking like a step. So this was all about the statement of shifting property. Now let's prove it. So we will begin with the first proof. We will prove first shifting theorem. So this is your first shifting theorem. After completing this we will look at the proof of second shifting theorem. So here is the proof. So I have just written down the theorem here, right? So let's begin with left hand side. So this is our left hand side. Now L is expanded in this integral form, and next what we do, we remove this curly bracket. Now you see these exponents will add up. So finally you got s minus a. Now we will rename this s minus a as s prime. After doing that, you can see the form here. So this form is exactly what we have symbolically represented by f of s. So here it is s prime because here is s prime. Next we replace s prime by s minus a. So this is the result you get. So finally we have proved that Laplace transform of this is nothing but whatever is the Laplace transform of function x, it is shifted by a unit. So what if here instead of a there is minus a? So if there will be minus a, here you will get plus a. Just work it out. Now let's look at second shifting theorem. So I told you there are two shifting theorem, first shifting theorem and second shifting theorem. So this is the statement of second shifting theorem. So here you have a function fx shifted by unit a, and it is multiplied by Heaviside function. And you know what is the value of this Heaviside function for different values of x. and we have to prove that this Laplace transform is nothing but whatever is the Laplace transform of function fx, right, just multiplied with factor e to the power minus as. So this we are going to see. So we have taken left hand side again. We expanded this form, and now you see we have removed the curly bracket. This is the form we got finally. And since h(x minus a) equal to 0 for x less than a, why? For x less than a, this value is what? Negative. A negative means less than 0, right? And for less than 0, this heap side function will have value 0. So when you integrate from 0 to a, this is going to be 0. So your integrand is 0, so whole integral will result 0, right? So this is the same thing we have written here. So only integral from a to infinity will contribute. So you can see here 0 to a, heap side function will take value 0. Everything is as it is. Now from a to infinity, heap side function will take value 1. Why 1? Because here argument is greater than 0. Now things would be simple. So this first integral will result 0. Second integral we have written as it is. Now you see we are doing change of variable here. So we are redefining x minus a as z. So z is our new variable, and what is z? X minus a, right? So our aim here is to replace x minus a with z, right? Or in other words, I want to remove x with z variable. So wherever I see x, here is the x, so x will be replaced by z plus a, and here dx will be replaced by dz. So when you differentiate, right, this one dx, this will become dz. Since a is a constant, this will be 0. So after replacing, you see this form becomes this, right? So you will ask why this is 0. So since this x, earlier it was x, right? And since we have changed this integral from x integral to z integral, so for x equal to a, what will be z? So x equal to a, just replace x with a here. So a minus a becomes 0. So z starts from 0, right? So this is it. Next what we do, we factor it out, you see here. Now since integration is over z, so this factor can be pulled out. Same thing we did here. What remains inside is the rest of the thing. Now you see z is a dummy variable, right? So you can replace z by any variable. You can replace it by x, you can replace it by y, right? So for simplicity we have replaced it by x, and you know what this form we call, means how we represent this form. This is nothing but capital F of s. So this proves second shifting theorem.